Okay.
Emang kenapa? Emang tadi tuh yang mati pacarnya.
So would you say everyone turn off your Would you please unmute your mic, everyone? Everyone, would you please unmute your mic? Putri Adinda and Alia, who haven't put the of the mic, would you please unmute your mic? Putri Adinda, are you okay? Do you have any difficulty to? Okay, good. So everyone, good morning. This is a language assessment class, right? Welcome to my class. This is the first time we meet, but actually we have already make a kind of virtual meeting on the malls by signing your present list in the mall, and I have already uploaded some materials in the malls, and I hope you all got the materials from the malls. So I have already uploaded 2 books, if I'm not mistaken, 2 books. The first book is about online assessment, and the second book is about the assessment in general. So the captain of the class, would you please make sure that everyone is over here? So there are 20, 30, 33, so 32 students. Is it, are they all students, or you need someone else to wait? Who is the captain of the class?
Me, sir. Me.
Okay. Okay. Rahim. What's your name? Yeah, Rahim?
Bahrim.
Bahrim. Okay. All right, Bahrim. How many students are there in the class, in this class, Bahrim?
32, sir, in my class.
Okay, that's okay. So 32 or 33? 32, yeah, okay.
Yes, 32, but maybe there some cutting or another class join.
All right. Okay, first of all, I'd like to ask you to open up your face. So open up your face, all of you. One more person. Okay. Dia, Wahyuni, Palupi, Neni, Rizka. Is this Rizka Widya? Putri Adinda.
Ya, hadir, Pak.
Open up your face, Putri Adinda. Palupi, Dia Isma, Wahyuni, Neni. Dia Isma, Payuni, Putri Palupi, would you please open up your face? If you are not opening up your face, I determine you as as being absent, because I don't know what you are doing behind the screen. Okay, Dia Isma. So keep your face on until I finish the lecturing, right? So don't turn off your camera. Dia Isma, are you there? Dia Isma, are you there? All right. Dear my students, this is my first meeting, so I would like to say welcome to my class. And before I start lecturing, I'd like to give you at least this is a rule of the thumb or something that you have to keep in mind to behave in my class. First of all, the face should be open up, so you have to open the camera until the end of the lecturing, and then secondly, you have to be very active to say something in order that I can I can know you well, because if you don't talk at all until the end of the semester, then I don't know you, right? Because this is a virtual class, so it is sometimes difficult to know well you, whether it is you yourself as a student of the English department, or you just at glance, or just by not doing something, but actually you are just doing two things together, and your ear, your right ear is on the laptop, the other laptop, and the right ear, the left ear, different concentrations. Are you doing two different things simultaneously? Would be different from doing one thing in a serious focus. Dia Isma, are you there? You can still you still cannot open your face. Dia Isma. The captain, would you please check her? Is he alive or not? Dia Isma. Captain of the class, would you please check Dia Isma by sending the WA, the WhatsApp message?
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay. So once again, I will say something about the character. Ini karakter ya, saya berbahasa Indonesia sebentar. Bahwa Anda kuliah di abad 21. Jadi kuliah di abad 21 itu tidak boleh hanya diam mendengarkan selesai. Diam mendengarkan selesai, nanti ujian. Tidak begitu. Jadi I need interaction. Saya perlu interaksi dengan Anda. Kalau nanti sudah tidak ada COVID, saya di kelas biasanya pakai U-shape kelas ya. Jadi U-shape pakai model kelas yang U-shape, sehingga semua berhadapan dengan saya, tidak ada yang second row ya duduknya. Makanya saya menginginkan Anda freely say something. You feel free to say something ya. Baca tidak membaca, yang penting berani bicara. Tapi kalau sudah kebiasaan berbicara, nanti jadi baca jadi lebih ngerti gitu. This is what I want you to do in my class. So usually I ask you some question, and then when you do something in my test or my evaluation or assessment, you do you do the thing. But if you are not active, then I'm still I'm doubtful to to give you the grade, the good mark or good grade. Okay, this is language assessment. So I need to ask you some question. Would you please, one of you, say something? What is in your mind when I say language assessment or I say assessment? Do you have not definition, a kinds of word or words that you keep in mind to make to relate related to this language assessment or assessment in general assessment? If I said the word assessment, then what will you say? Do you have any words or phrases or sentences to say?
Can I say
Okay.
something?
Okay, Fatia.
I thought about grading student.
Grading student, good. So grading student, all right. Anyone else?
Excuse me,
Yeah,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Who's talking?
Anisha.
Okay.
When heard about the assessment itself, I think about giving feedback, because when you assess something or grading something, you may give the feedback to the person that you assess.
Okay, feedback, good. Feedback, grading. So the keywords, the two person or two students said, grading and feedback. Others, please.
I'm sir.
Yes.
The assessment is ability.
Who's
It's me.
speaking? Who's speaking? Okay.
Me.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, the assessment is ability and experience to judge and give a student a score or ability to know or to check how good a person is on the English.
Okay. Ability to judge. Okay, good. Judgment. Grading, judgment, feedback. Okay, just see the words. There are at least you have three different words: judgment, grading, and feedback. Other, please.
Can I, sir?
Yes. Okay.
I think assessment is something evaluation for the student, also the teacher, to improve to the better in the future.
Okay. Cool. Improvement. Good. There are more words now. Grading, feedback, improvement, judgment. So we have 4 different words: grading, improvement, judgment, and then what is it? Feedback. Yeah. So remember these words before I. Okay, let me give you the slide. All right, so now we are talking about, this is the book that I used. You can read the book by downloading it in from the malls. The classroom assessment by Li-Fing Cheng and Jana Fox, and then this is a effective assessment in a digital age. Digital age. So this is more recent book. Right, there are 4 different words: evaluation, testing, measurement, and assessment. I think some of you have already said the terms related to assessment. You said okay, grading. In terms of grading, we have feedback, we have judgment, we have improvement. But we have 4 different things, or 4 different things, or different concepts. Testing, in the position of the circle, is in a very small circle. This is called testing. And then the second one is assessment, and the larger one or the largest one is evaluation. But differently, Bachmann said that this is the picture of evaluation, this is teaching and measurement, and we also have test. This is measurement. So we also have this one, evaluation, and then what is it? Assessment, measurement, then test. Look at the other words for evaluation. Measure the teaching, measuring the teaching and learning process. When you want to measure the teaching or learning process, then you come to the so-called evaluations. Documentation, to make a documentation, it is more, what is it? It is likely to be, what is it, the grading or something like portfolio and so on, assessment documentations. And data in numerical value, this is measurement. So we are talking about data, and then test is the measure skill or knowledge. And this is the big picture of the relationship between teaching, assessment, and test and evaluation here. So test is something smaller, assessment a little bit bigger, and then the biggest one is the teaching. And evaluation here is the concept of, what is it, having analytical tool resulted the values from feedback. And we have teaching here, the interaction of the teaching, and then the goal of the teaching is here. And then we have the goal of assessment. So the goal of assessment should be in line with the goal of the teaching, And then here the goal would achieve the so-called competence or performance or skills. Also, the assessment should be in line with the goal of the teaching. And then we have reflection on the evaluation. And then after we have reflection, we give feedback, improvement feedback to the competence we want to achieve in the teaching. And then grade here, grading is here, coming to the evaluations, and testing and measurement is something over there as the, what is it, the technical doing of the evaluations, and then the judgment is here. Okay, so two things which is really, or which are really important for us is the term assessment and evaluations. There is an area, a shared area here. So both assessment and evaluation require criteria, use measures, or evidence-driven, right? Evidence-driven. So they need evidence, they need data, they need measurement, they need criteria to judge, both assessment and evaluation. But in an evaluation, it is going on program, going on something going on, something positive, something individualized and provides feedback. But in an evaluation, we have a closer or something judgmental, something applied against standard, and so shortfalls, something like what is it? Shortfall is something like weaknesses. And terminology, there are terminologies, at least you have to know the assessment, the test, the measurement, and the evaluations. You know that the assessment is the process of gathering information to make informed decision. When you go to the class, and then you need the kinds of information from the students, from the behavior of the students, from the classroom management of the class, from the teacher, and all the things about the class should be gathered in form of information, and then it is the data, or they are the data for assessing something, right? Assessing the class. But while the test is only an instrument or systematical procedure for measuring the sample of behavior. So when you want to take samples of the behavior of the class, or take the sample from the, what is it, the student manners and so on. So you need a kind of instrument called test. So test is very specific things. And then measurement is process of obtaining a numerical descriptions of the degree to which an individual processes a particular characteristic. So when you want to know the particular characteristics of the student or the behavior of the students in the class, then you make you may obtain something, you may get you know, the numerical descriptions called measurement. For example, you go to the class and then administering a test. This is the process of administering a test and then getting some data, numerical data from the result of the test. This is called measurement. While evaluation is the bigger one, the broader one. This is referring to the process of the judgment, all the process of assigning values or deciding words. So to judge something, it is evaluation. So the word evaluate means, you know, the bad, you need the good and the bad, and then you decide which one is the good, or which one belongs to the good, which one belongs to the bad, and so on. So to make an analogy like this, when you have a tool, this is test, right? This is measurement, assessment, evaluation. Thermometer, for example. The number is the measurement. I mean, 48 Celsius degree. Then this is the measurement. But when you want to assess something about the number, then you can, okay, it is above average or below average. Okay, it is above average. This is called assessment, to assess. But evaluation is, what does it mean? It is when it is above average, it is hot, okay? It is not cool, right? But when the number is here, the measurement is here, the test is using thermometer. And then the assessment is below average, okay? And then you will see the evaluation very cool, and so on. So it means that the test is, or refers to the instrument we use to measure. And the result of the measure is the measurement, the score of the students, for example, or the, what is it, the score of the questionnaire, etc. But when you want to say something about the interpretation of the score, before going further to the evaluation, you have assessment. In the assessment, you have criteria, right? Criteria to use: below average, above average, or in the middle, and so on. This is called assessment. While you, after that, after all the things, and then you may say something about the judgment. This is called evaluation. Okay, so it is very, very clear which one is evaluation, which one is test, and so on. So this is the continuum of the assessment: narrow assessment and deeper learning assessment. This is called, for example, the traditional test. We have multiple choice test, something like that. And then this is narrow assessment, and you have standardized test, multiple choice test of the routine skills. And then we also have what is it, many kinds of tests, like GCSS test and the standard test, TOEFL test, or something like that. This standardized test with using what is it, open-ended items or short items, short performance, so on. And you have also kinds of tests using task-based tests, or task-based what is it, measurement. You have more than a week, more than a day, or more than 2 days, but you have a week, 2 weeks, and so on. You have also more deeper tests like this one, and then you have performance tasks which require students to formulate, for example, to analyze something like, yeah, let's go to the inquiry learning, something like that. This is a test, and then go deeper. Here you have longer investigations of the test, of the assessment, that's portfolio, and so on. So the more you go to this direction, the deeper you have for the assessment, right? But if you are in here, you have a cross-sectional test. You know, you just put the data at glance. Any question about the what is it, introduction? This introduction of the what is it called, the difference between test, measurement, evaluation, and assessment. The title of our what is it? The title of our course here is language assessment. So we will talk more on the assessment rather than test. But it is also okay. I will give you some definition of test and the criteria of the test and so on. Is assessment, then the next question is assessment synonymous with testing? So assessment is primarily concerned with providing teachers or students with feedback information. So it is more on the, what is it, let's say the information about the class, the information about anything about the behavior of the class, or the students or the teachers, or the all information about the management of the class or classroom management. All things about the class will be included, will be encompassed by or in a assessment, the coverage of the assessment. In teaching, you know that the procedure which you can use for evaluating language assessment or language proficiency, we usually use assessment. And assessment is transparent when clear assessment criteria have been predetermined. So when you go to the assessment, you have to create a criteria, to create a norm, to create a kinds of barometer or parameter of judging the students. Is there one form of assessment? There are different forms of assessment. For example, formative assessment, summative assessment, self-assessment, peer assessment. I think you know what is meant by formative, what is meant by summative. Usually when you go to a certain period or courses, period of time, then gradually you go to the formative, and then finally you have summative. Self-assessment mean individual can have a self-assessment over there, and peer assessment means you know, the peers or the friends or the classmates will make a kinds of procedure to assess their friends. The most common form of the assessment now. This is like activities required by students during the conduct of the course. So usually assessment is now, assessment refers more to the, what is it, continuous assessment, recording the activities, all the activities by the students during the course. We have sometimes the so-called portfolio, and then ongoing assessment and so on. When you are with my class now, for example, I will ask you to, sometimes I will ask you to say something, to, what is it, to ask question when I'm giving you a lecture, and then, but sometimes I need you to do the test in a Google form, for example. This is one of the tests, but actually my grade would be based on your trajectory, your what is it, your all accumulative trajectory from the first to the end of the course. So it is not only one. I never use one particular test as a determiner, the main determiner to to judge whether you get grade A or B or C, right? So my determiners are many. For example, when you are very active in this class, and then I will be able to memorize your name, then of course it will influence your score, your final grade. But sometimes you need you know, you need to do something. For example, I give you assignments, and I give you assignment, and you do all the assignments, and this is also one of the influencer to my final grade. So my final grade never be based on only one criteria or only one things. So I use assessment in this case. All right, formative assessment, summative assessment. I think I have already go to that. I've already give you these things. And then how do we test that? This is about how. So there are different sorts of testing. Now we are talking about testing now. assessment, and then testing, going further to the testing. We have achievement tests, we have communicative tests, we have competence tests, we have testing. What I mean is diagnostic testing, integrative testing, performance testing, progress testing, proficiency testing, psychometric testing, and so on. So what about achievement testing? This is achievement testing. Usually we determine whether or not the student master the course content to achieve, whether they are achieving the content or not. How they should proceed to achieve, to accomplish the main goal of the course. This is called achievement test. So be clear with the term achievement and ability. So student, for example, you have writing achievement and writing ability. Achievement means you achieve some what is it, goal. You achieve the goal of the course during the time. So for example, you have this is a quantitative research course, then you will achieve something. This is called achievement test. But ability means anything about your standard ability. For example, writing, the ability of writing means the standard of someone to have to be called fluent writer, right? This is the difference between achievement and ability. What about progress test? It is usually used to determine the progress of the students, to what point the students is going. So for example, until 2 weeks up to now, for example, after this, and then I will be able to see whether you take such point, whether you understand all my lecturing, in which one, in which degree do you are you understanding my points or my contents, my words, or my lesson. And this is a progress testing. It is very important for teachers to know such kinds of progress, because when you want to continue your topics, you need to make sure that your students are your students understood all the things about the previous progress or previous lessons. Otherwise, you will have difficulty to make sure that about the class interaction. This is progress testing, right? What about proficiency tests? I have already mentioned the ability. So proficiency is similar with ability, the things that you measure as a standard. So it is usually the general knowledge of the person to be able to be labeled as something. This is called proficiency. So certain knowledge, for example, your English proficiency, your speaking proficiency, it means that your standard ability of speaking. Your speaking proficiency means your standard skills of speaking. So with reference to specific course, of course, this is called proficiency test. So be careful to make a difference, to distinguish between proficiency ability and achievement. Diagnostic tests, we have to diagnose. Diagnose means to identify certain things. This is to diagnose. So when the doctor is going to know what kinds of disease the patient have, then she or he or the doctor should diagnose something to identify which which disease the patient have. So this is kinds of diagnostic things. So test is similarly happening like that. So the teacher is diagnosing the area in which the student needs further help, for example. If you want to help the student further about anything, and then you have to diagnose the conditions of the students. Our student or our student are our students successful in achieving certain message from the student the teachers, then you have to what is it to know that. This is called diagnostics. What about psychometric? Psychometric is what is more on measuring the psychological trait, psychological like personality, intelligence, ability, aptitude, and so on. So we have a kinds of usually the test is measuring the psychological way by having indicators. So, for example, to make to measure the intelligence, we have to break down the intelligence into indicators of the intelligence, which can be measured directly, and then you will have scores from the questionnaire or the measurement. This is called psychometric. Yeah. All right. Now, what do test do? What do you want to do in testing? So this is about the what is it? What a test will appreciate or measure, depending on the tester. So if you are as a teacher need to test the competence, and you have competence testing. So it depends very much on the purpose of your teaching. If you are teaching to achieve certain purpose, then you have to know that this purpose should be tested later after you finish your program. So this is called what is it? Something that test do, right? What do the test do? Performance test. Sometimes we have a performance or competence. What is the difference between competence and performance? Competence is referring to or refers to the candidate's ability to produce foreign language. So when you want to speak, actually what is in your mind about the rules, about the grammar, about the anything about the the regulations of the language is called competence. So competence means your knowledge about that language, so you can produce your phonetic sounds. That is the language. So if you don't know about the language, you don't know words, you don't know lexical grammars, you don't know anything about the language, you cannot say something. Saying something is performance, and your knowledge is competence. Yeah, right. So remember that sometimes competence is different from performance in terms of that thing. So it can be likely that someone is better in competence, but is not better in performance, or the way around. The one is better in performance, but they are not better in competence. For example, usually the ability to understand something, you are or you are best in knowing the grammar or everything about the language. You know the language, but it doesn't mean that it is guaranteed that you are able to speak that language well. For example, okay, now anyone, if anyone asks you about the English grammar, you can answer the question because you are teaching the grammar, you are learning the grammar in your study. But when someone is asking you to perform, to speak or to write, sometimes you have difficulties because you need you are lack of practices, for example. So performance sometimes is not in line with the competence. Do all language tests aim at measuring communicative competence? No or yes. They may test aspects of language or skills which are considered to be indicators of communicative competence. So, well, you want to know to test the communicative competence, and you can see some aspects. For example, okay, testing of speaking only, testing of writing only, and so on. What about communicative competence? The aspect of communicative competence. You have linguistic competence, sociolinguistic competence, and strategy competence. There are all our competencies that the speaker or the language speakers have in this case. To test one or many things in a time. This is about time of testing. We can have the so-called integrative test or a discrete point test. Integrative test means you simultaneously use all skills to be tested at one time. For example, reading, writing, listening, speaking, all the things you have in an integrated test. For example, like a TOEFL test, the IPT TOEFL, you test all the skills, writing, reading, listening, and speaking, right? But sometimes you have to need you need to have a discrete point test, testing only the speakings or only the writings or only the reading. It depends very much on your interest. If you want to know only speaking, then speaking ability of the students, then let's say you have to make a test of speaking only. It is it is common sometimes. People want to use a certain thing to know to know the ability of the students on that particular skills. For whom are tests important? For almost all the people involved in the educational process, it is important. Test is important, or test is important, because the learners who want to know how well she or is doing, and then also he wants the pieces of paper for personal development or professional purposes. It needs a test, right? So teachers, especially teacher, because you are a teacher to be, you are the candidate of the teacher. I think it is very important for you to develop a test. Okay. Parents also need the result of the test, because they have to know the development of their child, right? Their children's. Educational authority like Kepala Dinas or in Indonesia Kementerian Pendidikan needs some kinds of test result. That's why there are national tests or regional tests or maybe standardized tests like TOEFL and so on. So this is the educational authority. When you want to go to further education, like maybe when you go to S2, for example, later on abroad, then you have to take a TOEFL test or IELTS test and so on. The potential employer who relies heavily on the test tell him or her about learners' proficient levels, for example. The employer, for example, if you want to work in the office or certain companies, for example, the employer need your record on the ability of English ability or every ability in need. I mean, they need. Then they need recording. They need the result of the test. Why else is testing important? Because it is a backwards effect. You know, backwards effect. What do you mean by backwards effect? The effect of testing on teaching. So, you know, the teaching sometimes is controlled by the test, right? Because when you take the test and then all the students fail in the test, it means that the teaching is not successful, right? So you may see whether your teaching is successful or not from the records or from the recordings of the test, the test result of the students. So the student will okay, you need to what they say, to repeat the course, because your test is not in line with the parameters or in line with, for example, the criteria to pass. For example, if you get D, for example, you get only 45 or 40, and then you have to at least you have to take the course again in the next semester, for example. This is one of the backwards effects. So about the what is it, the effect of the teaching, the effect that the testing has on teaching. Whether is testing important? Is the quality of test important for teaching? Of course, yes. Excuse me. Yeah, of course, it is very important for teaching. The quality of the test is very important for teaching, because if the test is a bad one, then the result may be negative aspect. What I mean is the test is too easy, for example. It doesn't improve the teaching, because if the test is too easy, then the students can do it well, and without any any knowledge, then what does it mean for teaching? This is the bad test. But if the test is too difficult, for example, if the test is too difficult, and so that anyone cannot, no one can answer the question well, then what does the teaching means? Then it is not good for teaching. If the test is good, the quality of the test is good, then the effect on teaching is very positive. Then you can have a positive backwash. So it means that your teaching is something. Your teaching is significant. Your teaching is important in this case, because you know from the test. There is no teaching without test. There is no teaching without assessment. So assessment and test or evaluation. There is no teaching without evaluation. So evaluation is a tool to know the the betterment or the quality of the teaching. All right, anyone? This is okay. I will stop the share. This is something that I have. I can give you for the introductory knowledge of the testing or evaluations. At least you know why we need that evaluation, why we need test, and what kinds of things should you test to your children and so on, before we go further to at least analyze a better test, or later on I will ask you to do or to make a kinds of tests, certain tests. Any questions? Would you please ask question, or at least you say something about about the test, about what we are talking just now. Not only asking question, you can say something, and you can have your experience to say something. Okay, Fatur, come on.
I want to ask the difference between the competence test and the achievement testing.
Competence test and achievement. Okay.
Yes. Because the two testing, what is it? Done at the end of the course, right?
Okay.
So is there any difference?
All right. So achievement test and what do you mean by achievement test and competence test?
Competence test.
Okay. Competence and performance is the things that you test. I mean, things, the aspect of language that you test. But achievement is concerning with the times. So whether you to make sure whether your teaching is good, or you achieve your goal of the teaching, you need achievement test. Whether your children can achieve the goals, you need achievement test. Of course, this will be administered in the end of the course. But for the competent test, it is something about the thing you test, the thing you assess, not about the time. So competent test mean you can test you can do the competent test any time you need, right? But for the achievement test, you have to to proceed the teaching process, and then you wait, and then until you make sure whether your teaching is achieving the goal or not. This is the difference. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyone else?
Sir,
One more. Okay.
I want to ask.
Who's speaking?
Yuda,
Okay,
Yuda.
Yuda. Okay, Yuda Pratama.
Is a test is same with homework? Homework like you doing test in the class and test in homework you doing test in the home. Is that same
Okay.
thing?
All right. So homework is one of the kinds of the test. What the procedure of the test is homework. For example, if you want to, okay, you don't have more time. Your time is very limited in the class, but you need more student working, and then you can do homework assignment. So assignment is you can use assignment as the test, but this is the way you try to find the data. Assessment by homework. But assessment is not a test. But you can say home assignment test. It is okay. This is one of the ways. So the way to make a test is one of them is home assignment test, right? So concerning with the time, if you don't have more time in the classroom, then you can do homework. But there are so many weaknesses of the homework, because you never know what the students is doing. You never know any helps from any other people from the student, I mean of the students at home and so on. So make sure that when you have homework assignment or homework test, make sure the test is going the good. I mean, you have a good criteria to measure, to what is it, to evaluate or to measure the result of the homework, for example. Okay. Okay. Good.
Sir.
Any more?
Sir,
Okay.
I want to
Me. Yeah.
I want to ask that is doing pre-test counted as testing?
Okay. Could you repeat your words?
Uh, is doing pre-test
Okay.
is counted
Pretest.
as
Okay,
pre-test?
yeah, pretest. Pretest is one of the tests, one of the kinds of the tests. So we have pretest, we have post-test. For example, if you start a course, then you can administer a pretest. It means that you want to know the entry points or entry behavior of the students. When you want to start teaching, to which point you started your teaching, it depends very much on the result of the pretest. So it is for teaching, but sometimes the pretest is very common for research. For example, if you want to know the difference between before and after treatment, then you have to administer the so-called pretest. So pretest is one kind of the test. Okay. Okay, good. No more questions. I cannot be until the scheduled time, because I have to finish my course in PPK, and in a professional teacher development program today. So until 12 days until now. I mean up to now. Right. So today is enough for I think for. This time is enough for today. So we will meet again next time in the or next week in the Zoom meeting. Thank you for all. I'm very happy today, because you are very active, and all of you can listen my lecture. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.